Greetings, Tony from Old River Hardgoods again. Today we're going to take a look at the world of LS Starrett Machinist dividers and calipers. Talk about a few of the different models and some of the history behind those tools. Starrett's made quite a variety of calipers and dividers in different shapes and sizes, as you can see from this 1900 Starrett catalog page. You will also run into two different types of marks on these tools. The one on the left is the earlier mark, and somewhere between 1910 and 1915, I don't have the exact date, they switched over to the mark that's showing on the right. I also have a pretty good selection of tools showing in this week's flea market finds. Pickings were pretty strong this week, so sit back and enjoy, and I hope you learned something. And yes, I do have a few of these guys here at the shop. A lot of them need cleaning. Some of them I'm just taking apart for parts, but I do have a bunch of them. To get started, let's just review what exactly I'm talking about. This is a divider. It's got two sharp points on it. That's used for measuring point-to-point distances and also for taking or marking out circles, use as a compass. The outside caliper is used for taking measurements on the outer surfaces of an item, and the inside calipers used for taking measurements on the inside surfaces of an item. And I can hear some of you guys groaning already, Geez, Tony, don't you think we know what we're looking at here? But truth be told, there are a lot of folks out there that haven't been exposed to these tools or what types they are. And, well, face it, they sure as heck ain't teaching anything useful in schools these days. At least from what I've been seeing coming out of them. So, okay, we're going to start with the Yankee pattern of dividers and calipers. The dividers are number 83, the outside calipers are number 79, and the inside calipers are number 73. And these are pretty straightforward tools. The divider has the spinner bar mounted to this rod here. The screw is peened over or made so it fits in this little pivoting post here, and then there's a second pivoting post here which moves as the arm is adjusted. And a quick talk about sizes. These were made in sizes from 2.5 inches, then went to 3, and all the way up to 12. And note, Starrett always lists their sizes. The actual size of the tool is always larger than the listed size. So for instance, this one measures 4.5 inches. This would be a 4-inch one. This one's close to 7 inches, but in fact, this was sold as a 6-inch model. Most of these you see have the standard or solid nuts. This one does have the 1905 patent quickset nut on it. I'll be talking a little bit more about that in a bit. Also, once in a while, you'll find an earlier one of these that has the Fay June 2nd, 1885 patent on the arms. Also, back in the early years, they offered the divider and a number 84, which did not have the spinner bar. So these are the most basic models, but they still will get the job done. Next up are the Fay pattern dividers and calipers. The dividers are number 77, which I don't have one at present. The outside calipers are number 75, and the inside calipers are number 74. And these were made in size ranges from 3 to 6 inches in length. Now there's a lot of history behind these guys. Charles Fay was granted his first patent on December 20th, 1881 for a caliper. and a second patent on September 23, 1884 for a machinist surface gauge, which I talked about in a couple videos ago in one of my flea market finds section. But his most important patent was the June 2nd, 1885 one that Starrett adopted. And that has to deal with the style of the joint here. Now, the original patent specified that it could be used to basically, you'd sell the joint with a set of interchangeable legs, which Starrett never implemented. But, they kept it nevertheless. And it's proved a very, very, very enduring design that's lasted close to 140 years and spawned many millions of tools. That patent date was June 2nd, 1885. And there was a second patent of October 5th, 1897, that Starrett actually patterned their dividers and calipers after, but they didn't use. That patent was used by J. Stevens' Arm & Tool, which is on the left in this picture. That one's actually a patent pending model, which is kind of neat because it puts it within a really short time period of being manufactured. And it was also assigned to Brown & Sharp, who marked their tools with it as well. And here we have an example of the Fay pattern divider. This one, of course, is one of the early ones with both the patent date on the arm and the quick adjuster nut. The spinner bar is threaded into the top of the joint and can be removed. The screw for the main adjuster is mounted on the inside of the body in a slot in the one arm, and then comes out a hole on the other side. The legs are square at the top and then tapered down at the ends. This is a pretty solid design, and has surely passed the test of time in terms of being a quality tool. The quick adjuster nuts, Leroy, which is what the L stands for as Starrett, was granted a patent for the first one on January 30th, 1900. Those were a little funky. I've had a couple of them, and let's just say I can see why he went back to the drawing table, and him and a gentleman by the name of Robert Simpson came up with a slightly improved design on July 4th, 1905, and that's the most common patent date that you see on them. And again, the Fays were made with both the quick adjusters and the solid nuts, but most of them you find do have the quick adjusters. And if I were putting together a set of working machinist tools, these would be my first choice for the small to medium sizes. I'm not saying that the Yankees are bad by any stretch, because they are, just as well made tools, but these guys are just a little more solid, especially up in the top or the upper ends. And the last model that I'll be talking about today are the Starrett Toolmakers calipers. The divider, which I don't have, is a number 277. The outside caliper is a number 275, and the inside caliper is a number 274. And these were produced in sizes from 2 inches up to 6 inches. I'm not sure when these guys made it into the Starrett lineup. I have a 1912 Brown & Sharp catalog that shows their 800 series in there, and they're not in the 1900 Starrett catalog, so I'm suspecting that they showed up about the same time as with Brown & Sharp. Here's an example of the 2-inch divider. This one's not in the best of shape. The spinner bar is peened to the top of the spring, and unfortunately sometimes they do tend to get a little loose. I think it's screwed in and then peened over at the end, but anyways, I have had some come loose. The main screw is, like with the Fays, is locked inside the one leg and then comes and exits through a hole in the other leg. These guys never had the quick set nuts on them, at least the ones I've seen. But I'm pretty sure Starrett never produced them with that. They are pretty solid tools for doing small and very precise work. One neat one, this one. Somebody decided they needed to get inside of something and they silver soldered a couple of pennies to the tips. Why? I don't have a clue. Of course, with a lot of things I don't have a clue. And I keep thinking one of these days if I ever find my soldering iron, I'll try and take them off. But maybe I'll just sell it as is as a novelty item. And that's it for the Starrett portion of our program today, folks. There's a lot more to talk about, like the lock joint and firm joint calipers, as well as a number of specialty items they made in all the lines as well. But now it's time for this week's flea market find section. And this week at the flea market, on a 22-degree Fahrenheit morning, produced a few items. An 18-inch Stanley, number 36 level, needs some cleaning, get rid of some of that user-added paint. Lufkin 1176 steel rule, it also needs some cleaning. Everything needs cleaning. A Stanley number 813G brace with the universal chuck on it. It can be used with the standard square bits or with twist bits. Those are pretty collectible. There's a small framing square, don't know the maker. Kind of a neat wooden square. Wood handle tri-square, excuse me. Stanley Tri and miter square. Probably number 1. It's got the older style handle on it, just needs to get rid of some paint and patina. And another neat tool, the Eiffel plier wrench. This is one of the bigger ones. If you're not familiar with these guys, they came with different jaws, and you kind of just, I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not. No, I'm not going to try. But you can replace the jaw. You push down on it, the jaw slides out, and they had, like I said, different shapes of jaws, but this one's, got a few spots of patina on it, but it's not too bad. So, hey, it's a start. This is round 2 of my flea market picks for the week. And this is from a 5-minute flea market. Pretty good pile. Got a pretty good pile of hammers here. This is a Germantown riveting hammer with the original handle. Still got the label on it. Another riveting hammer. Pair of oddball peened hammers. These are kind of neat. German Saddler's tack hammer. Needs a little work. Small cobbler's hammer. It looks like it's signed. I can't read it, and the handle definitely needs some help. Really, really neat claw hammer. Somebody put a new handle on it, but it's kind of unique. Big old pointed peen hammer. People say these are punches, but this one doesn't show any evidence of being hammered on the face, so it's definitely a hammer, not a blacksmith punch. And this old hand-forged cross-peen hammer. Next out of the box is this Stanley 51 that somebody did a weird job of replacing the screw on, but I can always use blades. This is either a Union or a Dunlap spoke shave, needs some cleaning. Nice little William Johnson divider. Another Germantown tool. This one's a carpenter's hatchet in pretty good shape. Early Stanley pocket level with the patent date on it. Another level is a little Starrett 134. Don't know who made the scraper. This might be a Starrett. Won't know until I get the plate cleaned up there. A little Craftsman Wiggler set. Contrary to what you think, Craftsman didn't always sell crap tools. This is another Howard's patent, Star Bevel Square. Stanley mortising gauge, I forget the model number. It's not signed, but not all of them were. And also a Stanley 72 mortising gauge, which isn't signed. Might be one of the earlier ones. And the last of this pile. These are actually a cobbler's heel shave, but a lot of guys use these as tavishers for chair making. I haven't seen too many around. I hope the blade comes out of it, but we'll see. Another wooden spoke shave. Has some wear to the blade and the sole, but still is usable. Again, some of the blade comes out. Nice clean Stanley Tri-Square, number 20 in the 6-inch model. A really neat cast iron hacksaw. I forget who made these guys. I've seen them before, but that's kind of a collectible. A somewhat rough Stanley 81 scraper plane that somebody replaced the sole with God knows what. But we'll have to do something with that. Here we have a gutter round plane. For some reason, they took down one side of the fence on it, or a nosing plane. No maker's mark. Blade signed. Can't read it, but that one's different. And the catch of the day from this load, though, is this E.W. Carpenter double wedge 4-plane. Let's do this without knocking everything over here. It does have the Carpenter patent mark on it. Oops, there goes the wedge. Blade will follow soon. There. Read it a little better. Yep, it's got the 1849 patent date on it, so that one's pretty neat, and boy, you don't see these guys up very often at all anymore. So, as I said, this is round 2 of this week's finds. And the last of our 5-minute flea market segments for this week. This was supposed to happen last week, but the guy and I had a bit of a miscommunication about where we were supposed to meet. So, quick look. Here we got a body, Bump and Hammer. It's signed. I can't read the name yet, but it's definitely an American product. Got a blacksmith, angle cut chisel. Another blacksmith top fuller. Blacksmith hot cut chisel, pretty good shape, just needs a little cleaning. This guy's out of here. We got a pointed peen. These are called dent removing hammers. At least that's what I always call them. This one's hand forged. Another hand forged hammer. This is more in the line of silversmithing. It's a bit dinged up, but You don't see them that often either. And last, a whole bunch of English cabinet makers and regular 10 screws. So, pretty good pile, lots of work to do. And that's all for this one, folks. As always, if you like what you're seeing, please hit the subscribe button to be notified when new videos are posted. And thanks for watching, and bye.